What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training. And today we're going to be talking about 3 specific tips for wide receivers to beat zone coverage. Okay, so these 3 aspects of your game you guys can apply to any single route that you guys run against a zone coverage DB or a zone coverage safety. So I hope this video helps you out and teaches you a few new things that you guys can use to beat those DBs who don't want to come down and press and stay off in that zone coverage. Okay, but also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want over 300 wide receiver drills and gym exercises made into a 4-week-long training schedule, check out that very first link in the description below for our ultimate wide receiver training schedule. So what you'll get access to is a 4-week-long on-field wide receiver workout plan. So we give you all the specific drills you need to do on the field, mapped out in a day-to-day schedule, and we include a video where we show each exercise full speed, and you'll get access to a 4-week-long gym training program that combines with the field program to help your guys' entire game as a wide receiver improve. So check out that very first link in the description below for our ultimate wide receiver training schedule. Let's get started with this video. So first things first here from Odell, you see how he's running this post route, right? And so this is as clear as day, got a zone coverage DB. So anytime we got a DB who's facing the inside, facing the quarterback, he's about 7 to 8 yards off. This is the situation that every high school, every youth wide receiver sees probably, I would say maybe about like 80 to 90% of the time, I guess. I think this is something that a lot of guys struggle with because they don't necessarily know the specific ways to attack this type of a DB, especially when you're on the outside, right? So if I have any kind of route, the number one goal needs to be what? I need to be closing the distance with this DB. My goal should be I'm trying to step on his toes, I'm trying to make him uncomfortable, and I'm trying to move him off this platform. That's my number one goal. So Odell in this specific route does such a great job of closing the distance with him, but also being fast. So what a lot of people do in zone coverage is they take this speed for granted. They'll kind of run up, they'll cruise up into the break, and they'll run a lazy route or they'll round this thing off. It is so important that you guys are attacking that DB, trying to step on his toes, but more importantly, doing it with some speed. If you guys can have some speed up into this thing, that's what makes that DB uncomfortable, because in zone, what's he not supposed to do? He's not supposed to let anybody get behind him, right? So Odell now decides to go with this rocker step at the top of the break and kind of threaten that DB to that blind spot, because if he were to run a speed out, especially with a condensed split like this, and he were to close the distance on this DB, step on those toes, get him to bail off of there, and he were to run this out route, he's got a ton of space to get some separation to make something happen, right? So we always got to make sure that against zone, we are threatening that DB to what? To his blind spot. Now, why would Odell even worry about this, right? So this DB's lined up, he's outside shade, and Odell's running a post route. Why would that DB be outside shade? A, it's zone coverage, but also in zone coverage, that safety's got help to the inside. So he doesn't mind it if Odell just takes off and runs to the inside, because that's where he wants him to go. He doesn't want to get beat to the outside. He wants to say, okay, try me to the inside. I want to force this receiver to the inside because I have safety help over the middle. So Odell, what he decides to do against this zone coverage look is when you work this rocker step and you can move that DB off the platform because you're threatening him to where his leverage is, that can widen the space, and that just opens up more of a gap for this quarterback to hit you. So make sure, fellas, that anytime you guys are attacking zone coverage, this is the first tip, that you attack that blind spot, you attack the DB's outside shade to widen him to the outside so it opens up more space and more of a window for that quarterback to hit you before that safety comes over the top and makes a play. It's a great, that's a textbook route here by Odell Beckham against zone coverage. Great job closing the distance, stepping on his toes, threatening the blind spot, and widening that DB. Now, the second tip that we got to understand, this is going to be like a slant out route here from Calvin Ridley. Some people call it a blaze out, and blaze out just means that you're taking 3 steps coming back to the out. It's not necessarily a post corner. This is a route we saw Julio Jones work a lot when he was with the Falcons. But the second tip that you got to understand about a zone coverage DB on the outside, and we're going to get to a zone coverage safety after this clip, so for all you slot guys, just stay tuned. But when you have an outside coverage, outside, like you're the X or the Z receiver, and this DB's in zone coverage, you got to understand that it is pretty much like, it turns into almost a man coverage if he doesn't have any threats to his specific zone, right? So let's watch this thing full speed. So you see how much he commits to that slant portion of it, and then he's able to move that DB off the platform and break to this out and create a good, decent amount of separation to where the quarterback could throw him open, and obviously he makes a great play after the catch. So let's talk about it. So if this DB, right, so let's say it's like cover 3, cover 4. We're not going to get into all the specifics of coverages and what the responsibilities are today, but obviously his responsibility is this like deep section of the field, whether it's a deep 4th, whether it's a deep 3rd, whatever it is, but he's trying to keep everything in front of him. Now, as a receiver, you got to understand that a DB is not just going to sit in his zone if he's not threatened there, right? So like if we break over the middle and let's say maybe he doesn't have like a wheel route or like a corner route or anything threatening him to this zone, he's going to kind of trail you, right? He's going to kind of match the coverage here, right? So we got to understand that as a receiver, the the principles of selling a route still apply. What so many receivers do on like the first part of a double move is they'll stop selling the route because they think that, oh, it's zone coverage, this DB is just going to stay off, and they run a lazy route because they think that, oh, I just got to get to open space. Selling the route still matters, especially when it's a double move, especially when it's like a post corner, especially when it's a corner post. Selling that route matters. In zone coverage, those DBs aren't just going to be idiots. They're not just going to sit where they're at and just wait for you to come or wait for guys to run in their zone and not get involved in the play. If they don't have any threats to their zone, they treat it like it's almost like a trailing match man coverage, right? So as Calvin Ridley runs this route, you see how much he's able to sell this break, right? So he's got great speed on the 45-degree angle, great speed selling this slant, post, however you want to think of it. His shoulders and his hips are committed on this 45-degree angle across the field. That's what everything that's going to get this DB to drive on it, because everything about this looks like a post, looks like a slant, whatever it may be. So that's what's going to get this DB to crash. So we got to make sure that when it's zone coverage, we still have the same principles of selling a route. I'm still selling the route with speed. I'm still selling the route with my body language, with my shoulders, my hips, and my eyes can be on straight on the break, or my eyes can shoot right back to that quarterback, because that's everything that will get this DB to jump and will get him to crash hard on the first portion of this move. And then obviously great job getting out of that break, least amount of steps possible, and accelerating back to that zone and winning the race back to the ball. So watch the thing again from Calvin Ridley one more time. Great job bursting, selling the slant, being in full stride, and then obviously using his hips to change direction. Great job selling this route against zone coverage. All right, guys, if you have not heard, we are going to be in the San Diego area on Sunday, October 24th for a 3-hour-long quarterback and wide receiver training clinic. So if you guys are local to that area, you want to come out, get a great opportunity to get some work in with myself. I will be bringing out a speed coach. We'll be having a photographer there to get you guys each about 50 to 100 different images of yourself. So check out that second link in the description below if you guys are in the local San Diego area, want to come out, get some quarterback, wide receiver work. I myself will be there working with quarterbacks and receivers on the mechanics of each position, football IQ, overall drills that you guys can do to take your game to that next level. And then our speed coach will be helping you guys with your 40 time, overall running mechanics, and overall athleticism. So check out that second link in the description below, you guys, if you want to come out and get some great work in. Let's get back to this video. So last clip I want to talk about here is when you guys have a zone coverage safety out of the slot. So we're looking at Emmanuel Sanders kind of run this like almost out and up stick nod concept here, but we're mainly going to be talking about what a DB is going to be looking for, what the safety will be looking for when you're out of the slot. So pretty much when you guys are out of the slot and you're going up against a too high safety look, right? I don't think this ball may end up being incomplete, but again, you see the separation that he's able to get on this safety. So anytime that you come off the line of scrimmage, right? Like let's say you line up here, like let's say we'll keep it real simple, right? So like I'm going to draw it over here to the screen. Like let's say this is the outside receiver. Let's say this is the slot, right? So that's the X. This is the slot wide receiver right here. So you're going to say that maybe we have like a will backer to the inside, and then we have a safety that's over the top of you. They're both in zone, and then maybe this corner's right here. Maybe he's playing the flats, or maybe this corner's got a deep fourth. But essentially, that's safety in you. When you get to a certain point, if he doesn't have any other threats from a route coming across the field, or like the outside guy running a post, that safety is essentially in man coverage with you, right? It's like off man coverage. So the same thing applies that we were just talking about with that Calvin Ridley thing. The third tip is that when you're going up against a too high safety look and he's head up on you, that's essentially like off man. So that's how we have to treat it, and that's how we have to sell my routes. And so it's the same principles as running routes against man coverage. A lot of people think that, oh, running routes against zone and against man are different, and they are a little bit different in certain respects, but in this respect where it's like selling a route when it comes down to actually creating space, it's very, very similar. So you see how when Emmanuel Sanders comes off on this route, when he breaks to that out portion of the route, look what happens. His eyes snap, his shoulders and his hips snap. He's got speed to that break. Again, when it's off man, all three of those things will work, and that's what we emphasize against man coverage. But same thing against this zone coverage look out of the slot. When you have two high safeties, it is pretty much off man. So I got to sell with my eyes, sell with my body, sell with my speed. That's what's going to get that DB to commit. And then if I put the brakes on suddenly, it's the same principles apply. I could get that DB to jump. He doesn't have that much time to react. And then look, I slip up into that zone, and I'm able to create space. So make sure, third tip against beating zone coverage safeties is that you have to know that it is pretty much off man once you cross about 8 to 10 yards. It turns into man coverage, so you could pretty much do whatever you want with your upper half, selling in a direction, angling your stem, pushing vertical. Those all three things will get you space. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Sanders working this route. Not too sure what ends up happening at the end of this play. The clip cuts off, but great job creating separation and taking care of that DB with his stem. All right, guys, we want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great hearing hearing from you guys as well. And again, fellas, if you want an ultimate wide receiver training schedule, over 300 plus drills and exercises for wide receivers on the field, in the gym, mapped out into a month-long schedule, check out that very first link in the description below. And again, if you're in the San Diego area, want to come out and get some work in, check out that second link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.